Counter reports allow administrators to run reports for devices to display the total counter at any given time or counter differences between specified times. For example, an admin might want to run a monthly counter report on all devices to get the monthly volume for the purpose of redeploying under or overutilized devices. To do this, go to Reports, Counter Reports, and select Lifetime Counters by month. Select Run, and select the date range and devices you are interested in seeing. For training purposes, we will leave it on all devices and select this year, which is about a 4-month period. Notice that the list is displayed by device, and it shows all manufacturers, not just Ricoh. If you look at the MP3055 with serial number ending in 0004, it displays the total counters by month, as well as the breakdown by color, print, copy, and fax. Another useful report is the user counters by device. This can track end-user device utilization using all of the device authentication methods, including user codes, basic authentication, Windows authentication, and LDAP authentication. To run this report, select Counter Reports, Standard Usage Counters by Device. For training purposes, we have selected all devices. Notice that the user codes are displayed under each device name and serial number. Looking at the 3030, notice that there are a few items under the user codes and many items in the Other category. Any prints or copies that were done while user authentication is disabled will show up under Other. In addition, if any user codes are deleted, their totals will be put under Other. If another method of authentication is used, the alphanumeric username will appear in the user code column. This report shows the user counter at the given time the report is run. If the customer needs to know how many prints or copies were completed per user on a monthly or quarterly basis, they would need to run this report at the beginning and at the end of the period and calculate the difference. To view a usage report that does not require calculation, go to Usage Reports and run a report that specifies the period of time you need. For training purposes, we have selected Usage by Device by User. We will leave it on all devices and set a date range of last week. When viewing the report in DMNX, all you can do is scroll through the list. To be able to sort and manipulate the list, select CSV as the format and select Export. Once it's open in Excel, you can easily sort the data to view the information you need. Keep in mind that the devices in this list include a lot of demo devices on which user authentication was disabled, so there are a lot of devices that show only Other as the user, or users with no usage. As we scroll through the list, we see some users that have actual usage counts. In most cases, when using this report, the administrator would set up a date range for the billing cycle, such as the past month or specific date ranges. To view monthly usage by device, for the purposes of reallocating devices, you can run a Delta report. This shows the usage between specific dates. For our example, we will use a custom report called Delta Report Monthly. This report has a specific group of devices and has a custom date range specified between the 30th of October to the 22nd of January. Looking at the columns, you can see that it includes the basic device information as well as all of the total usages. Notice that in October, the device at IP address 10.83.28.30 has the most usage in the list, 264. Remember, this represents only 2 days' worth of usage. In November, the same device had a total of over 16,000, and in December over 18,000. In January, the usage dropped to about 10,500. This report can show the times of peak usage as well as which devices may be over or underutilized. The last thing we will look at are the ability to reset user counters. There are two places that DMNX allows you to reset user counters, but this requires a bit of background explanation. Most MFP devices for the last 6 or 8 years allowed you to set what is called print volume use limitations on the device. This, in effect, gives the administrator the ability to set monthly or quarterly quota limits on the device. These volume use limitations are configured in Web Image Monitor, where the administrator would assign a unit count value for the black and white versus color pages, and then set the function for what to do when that volume use is reached. Then, in the address book, each user can be assigned a total volume, which is essentially the number of black and white or color pages that they print times each page's unit count. The reason for this explanation is that it can be confusing in DMNX when you want to reset the user counters. In the Configuration, Address Book, Settings tab, you can reset volume use. This does not reset the user's usage count, but it resets the quota limit for that user. Essentially, it resets the total volume back to the original address book setting. If you want to reset the user counters for the purpose of tracking usage per month, it should be done in the address book entry list. For each user, you can reset the counter per user by adding a user or group of users, and then selecting the Reset Counter per User tab, selecting the Set checkbox, and selecting which counters to reset. Notice that you can also reset the individual user's volume use total here as well.